So a little bit about Enduring. I'm going to kick it off and give you just a little background about our company, and then Jeremiah and I will kind of go throughout the materials and share with you again quite a bit of information on automation. But we are a full service transformation provider. We work with our clients and helping them achieve their strategic goals. And I would say we ensure that when I say strategic goals, we ensure that your strategy, workforce, your processes, so your core operation, and all of your support functions, including technology, accounting, finance, et cetera, are aligned to ultimately optimize the customer experience. I would say the one thing that really differentiates our organization from a lot of others is we really focus on execution and tangible results, which the topic today is very spot on for that. And that it definitely generates strategic results to better your organization. Sorry, I'm admitting a couple people here. To benefit your organization, improve your organization, and it's really our what we have for a service offering is truly industry agnostic. So these are just good, sound business services that can enhance any organization. Our core operations are on strategic growth, business excellence, business foundations, digital innovation, which you can see I've highlighted and underlined the process automation and RPA, which is what we're going to talk about today. And then we have a full suite of optimization training, which we focus on feeding people fish, I like to say, but we'll also teach you how to fish too. So we think there's room for both in this world. So what is RPA? And again, this is about robotic process automation, and it's interchange. We'll likely call it automation, process automation, or RPA, but it's really a type of technology that makes it easy for people to create computer programs called bots and software robots that do jobs that are normally done by humans. It's really, think of the manual work and the manual labor that humans do. Sorry, let a few more in. Software bots can truly follow rules and do tasks on your computer. It's really like, it can be entering data, it can be running programs, it can do a lot of these things. And we're going to spend a lot of time today going through in detail the types of things that our software bots can do that will save you time, money, et cetera. What's really neat about RPA is it doesn't really require changes or automation within your core platforms. What we like to do is leverage your existing tech stack. When you think of a person doing work, they're using these, we have some examples here. Most people are either in a Google network, a Microsoft network, et cetera, but DocuSign, QuickBooks, Fiserv, Scimitar, you name it, they can still do this stuff. Our software robots don't require changes with those programs. It's really, we just need access to them, just like your human would, or the person doing the work would. In contrast, if you look at API interfaces or integrations, it usually requires assistance from both companies. So if you're trying to connect Fiserv with a Microsoft product, an Access database or something as an example, you would need folks from both IT staffs probably to agree on that integration. It would go through the full testing, et cetera. Whereas a software robot can actually just act like a human going into Microsoft or going into Fiserv, getting the data and kind of bridging it over. And again, I think there's a classic case for RPA is really that kind of connection of various databases and systems. So again, it really does provide a really inexpensive yet very effective way of achieving automation with minimal involvement from departments at your organization. I hope that made sense. But Jeremiah, anything to add on that before I throw it to you?
Yeah, I would just say when it comes to RPA versus automation, right? A lot of times people we talk to and say, well, my platform can create automation. Like, that's fantastic, right? So have that platform do as much automation as possible. But we all know that when you actually do a process, you have to interface with multiple platforms to complete your process, right? That's why they call it robotic process automation. You may start in Outlook or Google, and then you take a document down. Maybe you have to save it to a shared drive, or you open an Excel sheet, you take data. So there's a lot of different systems and platforms that you have to use in order to complete the process. Robotic automation says, that's fantastic. We'll go ahead and build a software robot to use all the platforms, just like how you use them, just like how you use them today. So while we can build automation inside of a platform, you can't really automate the other platforms to do what you want, and that's where RPA comes in. We can use all your platforms and run the process just like humans can do. So what I wanted to pick up here, just a little about the industry, right? The RPA, right, this technology is not some flash in the pan or some new technology. It's been around for a little while now, and it's continuing to grow. And basically what we're showing here is that this is a massive, massive industry that virtually every Fortune 100 company is utilizing as of right now. And there's some big players out there that are providing this platform, right? So there is a platform in which you need to build these bots on, and companies like UiPath, Pega, Automation Anywhere, Microsoft, all these companies provide those type of platforms to be leveraged. But the challenge that we found is that a lot of these big companies are catering to the very large Fortune 500, Fortune 100 type of companies to drive the big ROIs. And there isn't a lot of organizations out there that are trying to drive it towards, let's just call it the small and mid-sized market, where they can leverage these same tools just at a different price point, right? So this is where we get excited about, RPA and some of these platforms allows it to be a very accessible and affordable way in which you can build bots within your shop, here every day. So what can it really do? Honestly, it sounds a little too good to be true, but it virtually can do anything that a human can do on a computer. It replicates human interactions and human decisioning, as long as those decisions, at least at this point in time, is rule-based. Now, you can definitely get into machine learning and have it actually start to learn to make decisions, on its own. We find that, most organizations like the very basic rule sets that they want to follow. So as long as there are rules out there for the bot to follow, it will follow it exactly the way in which we design it to do. So a lot of times we say, like, when you go train a new employee on how to do the work, you probably have to tell it to click here, do this, and then here's some rules. If it's this customer, we do this. If it's this kind of format, we do this. Those same rules we just apply, and we just show the bot how to do it instead of the actual human itself. So you can see it can open PDFs, it can read documents of different types of documents from different customers it can read. It can extract information. It can put information into your core systems. It can make calculations. Again, anything, the rules it can follow, any amount of if-then statements and scenarios that you can think of, we can build the bot to do that. So some of the benefits overall of RPA, I think first and foremost, which seems a little bit counterintuitive, but what we find when we launch bots is that you really boost the employee morale. A lot of times, employees really don't like to do the very manual, very highly repetitive task of copy and pasting or open this file, grabbing this information, and they do that over and over and over again. So a lot of times when we tend to build bots, we tend to find that those employees actually love it because it really just frees them up more time to do more what we call revenue generation work or more value added work than perhaps just doing the basic processing that really just has to get done, but it really is not driving any value to your customer or to the business itself. So we tend to see that the morale from employees actually increase. In addition, right, the productivity and speed is really 2 to 3 times faster than what the human counterpart can do. And on top of that, a bot is never going to call in sick, never going to take a vacation, and it's never going to leave you for 25 cents more an hour, to your competitor, right? It's going to come in, it's going to do the work, and it's going to do it every single time. And it's going to do it right every single time, which is the next benefit on accuracy and compliance. So it will do exactly what we programmed to do, and it will do no different than what we programmed it to do. So it will be 100% accurate, 100% compliant to the process in which we designed it to do. Now, the trick is, right, we need to make sure that the process is exactly what we want the bot to do, or the process is we want it to do, because it will follow those rules and it will do it exactly that way every single time. So your accuracy and your compliance actually increases quite a bit. And then scalability and flexibility. we have to talk about like the changing demands of the business. So you may have some seasonality where you get a lot of volume, maybe there's a little bit where you get less volume. Well, the bot can scale up and scale down and be able to handle that volume very, very easily, right? Versus trying to bring on, employees during certain times and then letting them go, right? The bot will just scale to whatever volume demands that ultimately that you have. And then, of course, last but not least, which is the big one that everyone tends to look to, is around that improved profitability. And we'll show some more slides here in a little bit, but we can definitely build bots to perform tasks that is really going to be at a fraction of the cost in which you're probably paying an FTE to do so. And we'll talk a little bit more about that here in a little bit and what that looks like. But really what we find is that RPA really is one of the best ROI strategies for that sustainable improvement over time.
Yeah, I mean, to reinforce, and I know this sounds probably like a late night infomercial if those are on anymore. It really does boost morale, increases productivity and speed. They're perfect. They do exactly how we program them to do it. It's scalable and flexible, and without a doubt improves profitability. There are very few things, and honestly, with an Endurium perspective, we didn't start Endurium with the idea or vision to have an automation team. We just have used it because we were fortunate enough to work at companies that utilize the technology when we would consult. And again, our background is really in process improvement. As we would perform these improvement suggestions and say automation, our clients wouldn't know what it was. So over the years, we've developed everything's internal. It's really easy to apply in any organization, small or large, and drive really, really strong impact financially, from a morale perspective, culturally, et cetera. So again, give this a consideration. We're going to give you a lot with a lot of information as we go through this, but we believe very heavily in this product, and our clients are, as you would say, clients of our raving fans of this. Most of our clients will have one, then they want 2, 3, 4. So this is go ahead, Jeremiah.
Yeah, I was going to say, so these are some examples, right? So at this point, you're like, well, this is interesting. There's something to this. What are some examples of RPA that you've seen within different clients within different industries? And again, these are just thought starters. It really is up to your imagination almost in terms of what you want the bot to do. And definitely there's some caveats in terms of how we test the process, make sure it's viable, make sure it has the right data elements and things like that. But for the most part, you think about sales and marketing, lead generation, email campaigns. I think you tend to see some automation on some of these aspects already. Social media updates, sales reporting. That's one big thing that I don't think a lot of businesses think about, is a lot of the support functions and how much different data sources you have to go to try to put a report together and bring this down and run pivot tables and run this report. A lot of times we can build bots to support a lot of those data and analytics reporting to automate a lot of those functions as well. And of course, human resources, payroll processing, and employee onboarding. There's certain documents that have to get sent out, certain things that need to be filled out. You can build bots to do a lot of these things automatically. And of course, you see customer service. Order processing, we see quite a bit when we get new orders in from a customer. They all send them in different formats, and we got to take information and put it into our system. That's really a classic case when it comes to robotic process automation. A lot of times you can think about your feedback or survey information or things that you get. There's a lot of things you can do with RPA in terms of doing sentiment analysis. And that's just really reading all of the comments and all the feedbacks and coming up with conclusions of what your customers are saying about you. That's another a kind of classic case for RPA. And of course, finance and accounting, invoice processing. You can use things like what we call OCR and NLP technology to read the invoices, pull out the information, put them into your accounting system, your accounts payable and receivables, of course, and of course expense management. Those submissions and those approvals all could be automated depending on certain thresholds that you can rate. So again, these are just thought starters of general areas that you can start thinking about that RPA could be applied to.